Welcome to part 6 of our Linkin Park discography tour. Today we are going to dive into their 5th studio album, Living Things. But first things first, if you love Linkin Park, like the video, hit that subscribe button, and comment below your favorite song from the record. Now let's go. There's honestly not a whole lot of history to go through when it comes to setting up the background of this record. The band intended to start releasing an album every 18 months, and Living Things was the first record to be released as a part of that plan. The band's purpose behind this record was to go back to their roots, to be able to get back to the old Linkin Park and who they were, and to be comfortable in their own skin again. But at the same time, they didn't want to just make another new metal record like the old days. They wanted to take everything that they had learned and gained through their experience from the making of the previous 4 albums and create a record that takes the best parts of all of those albums and put them onto one record. When everything was said and done, they all agreed that the result was Linkin Park back in true form. And to a degree, I agree, because you can feel the elements of all the albums and you still get iconic Linkin Park sounds, but they took enough of a different turn and direction that it doesn't feel old hat. And I really think that they illustrated the strength of their writing ability because it feels familiar, but it doesn't feel boring in any way. The record is a very personal record. In previous albums, they often sing about the human condition and emotions that they feel. And in their previous record, they made a concept record dealing with nuclear war. But this time around, they covered even more personal topics, which is why they called the album Living Things, because of how personal it is to themselves. Now, they started working on the album back in 2011 with Rick Rubin producing alongside Mike Shinoda again. This is actually the final record that Rick Rubin helped co-produce. Now, when it comes to the sales of this record, it sits in the number 7 spot of Linkin Park album sales with over 1.9 million sales to date, which makes that a certified platinum record. And with that, let's dig into these songs. First off the bat, we have Lost in the Echo, which fuses sounds of pop and techno of the time, but with a definitive Linkin Park edge and includes some nice and heavy rock elements. Now, I think this song is about being stabbed in the back and continuing on anyway, expressing the pain of being lied to, and then once you realize it, calling it out and powering through. And then from there, we get into the song In My Remains. The beauty of Linkin Park is their ability to incorporate electronics and techno, but still really be able to use bass guitars and the drums for the deep beat. This song demonstrates this with the electronic highs at the beginning and the drums and bass coming in to fill the lows. This song deals with a deep level of despair, being lost in yourself and digging deeper and looking back with regret, wishing to feel alive again. Then from there, we get into Burn It Down, which is probably the most recognized song from this album for people. If anybody hears this song, they would say, oh yes, I know that song. So Burn It Down, this song sticks to the formula of this record. Electronic intro that becomes the backgrounds to the drum beat and guitars. Now, this song is about breaking free. In life, we have cycles that plague our lives, and sometimes we need to burn down those cycles after we've built them up and escape. And this lines up very well with the train of thought in Stoicism called ekpyrosis. Ekpyrosis is the all-engulfing cosmic fire. The concept is this: from time to time, everything needs to burn to make way for new life. And from that burning, we move into lies, greed, and misery. I've listened to too much rap in my life to not be concerned when the beginning of the song comes on and you initially hear Mike say, I'm gonna be that nail in your coffin, because the first time I heard it, I thought he was about to say something else. Go listen to the song and check out what I mean. It still gets me every time. And if you're unsure of what I'm talking about after you've listened to it, don't worry about it. One of the cool things about the history of the release of this song, though, is the band had started a worldwide interactive scavenger hunt. And at the end of the hunt, the prize was the release of this song. This song is calling out somebody who lied and deceived and tried to intimidate, expressing that they want to see them get their proper karma, and they do end up taking a fall that in the end is actually their own fault. Then the song I'll Be Gone. Now, this song to me sounds like it's talking about a relationship that's gone cold, and at the end of it all, he left. Does anybody else get another meaning from this song? I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts. Hit me down in the comments and let me know what you think of the song and what you think it means. Now, Castle of Glass. This song is so good. The opening sound is a distant, modified sounding version of Forward for Meteora that branches into the beat of the song with some classic Linkin Park electronic pieces subtly put into the background. At least that's what the intro sounds like to me. Go check it out. Let me know what you think if you hear what I'm talking about. Now, this song to me is exploring the idea of becoming new. And the line, "I'm only a crack in this castle of glass," I think is saying that he feels small, but is also not insignificant, because even though he's just a small crack, one small crack can destroy the whole castle because it's made of glass, and so it is fragile. Then Victimized. This song is short. It's only about a minute and a half and has a very raw drum intro that continues throughout the song. Then once you get all the instruments together, it gives the song a very primal edge. And the end drops a cool transition to the next song, Road Untraveled. Now, Victimized to me seems like an anthem for standing your ground and calling out those in the shadows that think they have the power of intimidation and then showing them that they are wrong. But then moving into Roads Untraveled, once the transition subsides, we get some chimes and piano opening the song that stays throughout the majority of the song, with some of the drums mixed in, pulling us to a rock finish. Now, this song is about letting go of what might have been. If there's a road you didn't go down and maybe you should have, let it go. And that's the idea behind this song. Now, Skin to Bone does a really fantastic job of taking electronic elements that we've heard through this whole record and putting an edge to it that you wouldn't normally hear from these types of sounds. But the way it's all mixed together really creates a sharp, edgy sound to this song. The meaning of this song is fairly simple to me. It's letting go of somebody in death that you're not sad to see go. Does anybody else have a different idea of the meaning of this song? Throw it down in the comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Then we move into the song Until It Breaks. Now, Linkin Park knows full well what it means to keep pushing forward. And the song Until It Breaks is about just that. No matter what, keep moving forward. Now, this song is very rap heavy. The majority of the song holds a fun beat and then becomes almost religious sounding towards the end due to the choir-like vocals supplied by guitarist Brad Delson. It's a very soothing ending to the song as it leads into the song Tinfoil, which is an instrumental like we've heard on previous albums. But instead of a lot of fancy work on the turntables that Johan has done in the past, it's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward beat that makes you feel like you're out in the universe floating in the sky. It's a really cool effect and a lot of fun to listen to. Now we move into the final song, Powerless. Linkin Park being the kings of transitions, it is near impossible to tell when the song Tinfoil ends and Powerless begins. It honestly feels like one song. And I think Powerless is actually one of the most heartbreaking songs that Linkin Park has ever written. It's about watching someone you have shared meaningful and intimate moments with lose everything. They had everything. The world was theirs. And they had all that they could ever want. But then they were careless. They lost everything. And Chester in this song is watching as it happens and is powerless to save them. It's a sad note to end the record on, hopelessness, but that is a feeling that Chester understood all too well, which we will talk about another time. Overall, this record is a back to the basics moment for the band. They do branch out so that it doesn't feel mundane and redone, but comfortable enough that Linkin Park fans will feel comfort and at ease with the sound. The lyrics tackle some very heavy topics, which is one of the main appeals of their music, actually, because they just seem to get it. They understand how it feels to be in a dark place. The sound is heavily electronic. They do incorporate some good heavy rock and roll as well, but it verges on being a techno album, almost. And it's very rap heavy throughout, which is excellent. That's a beautiful piece of going back to being true to form, is the amount of rap that they have intertwined into the record. At any rate, this is a top-notch album in my opinion. Burn It Down, I think, is probably the one song that would stand out the most to people. And I think it's the one that most people would remember from this album. This is definitely a record that needs to be focused on while listening, though. It's not one that you're going to pull many hit songs from. It is definitely a record that is for the fans. If you like this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps build the channel and the community, and I'd love to see you here through the week. Next week on the Linkin Park Discography Tour, we will be going through their album, The Hunting Party, and we'll also lightly touch on the remix album, Recharged. So come back next week for that. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here then.